All right, the other quarterback matchup we wanted to touch on here in the first segment. Jordan Love, C.J. Stroud. Another one that didn't quite live up to the hype. C.J. Stroud doesn't even get 100 passing yards in this game. Jordan Love throws a couple of ugly picks, some bad decisions there from him. Could have had more with his performance. What did you see from both of these guys up in Green Bay?
Well, let's start with the Packers. I think you talked about the two interceptions. The first one is one, he obviously is going to want back. You're working a little double stick combination on your right-hand side. It gets squeezed from the outside, poor throw tip. Next thing you know, it's overthrown. And that's a ball that just, he knows it. I know it. We all know it. It's a ball you can't throw. And then the second, really there's edge pressure on the right. He's throwing the deep crossing route over the middle. The ball sails a little bit high, and it turns into an interception. I thought outside of that, I thought Jordan Love played pretty well. I thought he was accurate. The touchdown throw down the middle was beautiful. The pace that he put on that ball. So the backside safety couldn't get there in time was excellent. The deep ball on the left sideline for the touchdown was a beautiful throw. He had some great conversions on third down, which I thought was impressive. They beat up some man-to-man coverage, some tight man-to-man coverage, did a good job with that. And then the other thing I like to see from young players, right, is sometimes you're going to have games like this where you throw some interceptions, you make some poor decisions. How do you respond? And I thought he responded really well. Never looked, out of control, never looked flustered. And when the game was on the line, took them right down the field and set up the game-winning field goal. So not perfect by any stretch. Possibly even a little bit ugly, but that's going to happen in this league, and you got to find ways to win. And I give Jordan Love a lot of credit for that.
Hey, I go back and I look at this Green Bay Packers team historically, and I played against Aaron Rodgers and that Packers unit for a while, and it wasn't always pretty from Aaron Rodgers or perfect, but he found a way to go in there and win football games in crunch time. And, Packers fans, Mike's a huge Packers fan, and he talks about he's more Brett Favre than Aaron Rodgers, this Jordan Love character. And when you see him out there unapologetically shooting his gun the entire game, sometimes it comes to bite him. But then you go, thank God we got Jordan Love at the end of the game, because he puts your team in a position to win. And I think Jordan Love's confidence and his tools, coupled with Matt LaFleur's knowledge of the game and his ability to put his guys in the right position, paired with the youth and the talent at that receiver position, gives you a chance every week. And we got that defense stepping up a little bit for the Packers, and it's winning football. That's the formula right there.
He really doesn't.
Yeah, and let's not forget, too, early Aaron Rodgers was not the Aaron Rodgers of his last 5 or 6 years in Green Bay. I played against him. We came out, he was 3 years before me, but we both started in 2008. And some of those early Aaron Rodgers, he was very aggressive down the middle of the field. They threw a ton of seam balls. They threw a ton of in-breaking routes and was extremely aggressive, sometimes to the point of it might not be the right decision. And it kind of reminds me of where Jordan Love is at right now. He's got this unbelievable arm talent. He's challenging throws down the middle of the field, finding what he can and cannot do. And I look for growth in that standpoint. But finding ways to win is impressive. And some of the throws he made was incredibly impressive.
Let's flip to the other quarterback a little bit, because C.J. Stroud, one of the best rookie seasons in NFL history at the quarterback position. People are expecting the next step from him in this offense, adding Stephon Diggs over the course of the offseason. And now, obviously, they've been without Nico Collins the past couple of weeks. We'll be without him for a while with him on IR. What's going on with this Texans offense? Why haven't they quite lived up to the expectations, and why haven't we seen this big next step? And what do we see in this game against the Packers?
Well, I think they miss Nico Collins in what he brings to that offense, and his kind of physical size, his ability to body people up in the middle of the field. I think CJ is one of the better throwers over the middle of the field in the league. And when you take a guy like Nico Collins out, not only for his vertical threat down the field, but the ability to wear out that middle of the field, I think that affects what they want to do. I thought they didn't protect very well yesterday. Again, I think you got to give it credit. Green Bay's defense is good, right? And they created a lot of pressure specifically on the edge. I thought the tackle struggled for the Texans. And then, the secondary in Green Bay is very good. And there wasn't a ton of separation for most of that game. It was a low pass attempt game for CJ. but their run game was effective, and Joe Mixon was effective. And so I think they've got to navigate this space while their best wide receiver is out, and try and find ways to manufacture wins during the interim. But when he does get back, I expect them to be back to full throttle.
Yeah, I think they'll be scary once Nico's back, but
I mean, they should have won that. They could have won that football game.
Yeah.
I mean, Green Bay did a great job finishing, but that could have easily been a C.J. Stroud win with 85 yards of passing. I mean, so that's indicative of a good football team. And obviously, they're down Nico Collins, but the cavalry will arrive for the Houston Texans. And if they can keep things competitive, they're going to be every bit as dangerous as we expected them to be come season's end.
I think I came away from that game not as down on the Texans offense, but more up on this Packers secondary and this defense and what they can do with the athleticism they now have at linebacker, with the safeties and the night and day difference we've seen from last year to this year at that position. I think maybe just this Green Bay defense is for